Please retry this question before watching the video. So, only thing you need to know for this one real quick is the RC for clause questions. If you don't know it, add it to your cheat sheet, master it, and go back 5. But the RC for clause question is punctuation. Punctuation is what changes from answer to answer. So we know this is a clause question. And there's going to be a very common trick on this clause question, which is separating the subject from the verb, separating the subject from the verb. So anytime you're dealing with potential comma sandwiches when you start and end something with a comma, or could be any other punctuation mark that turns it into a parenthetical and therefore makes it non-essential information. It's not there. We recommend not even reading the comma sandwiches / parentheticals when they're involved in a clause question. And so we can see that what they're going to do is set up scenarios where you are removing either the verb or the subject via parenthetical. But ultimately, you're just separating the subject and the verb so they are not together. And so in answer F, they make everything from kumi deako to drumming a parenthetical, essentially. You could also say they're making became a phenomenon a parenthetical. Either way, you have to separate, you have to remove either the subject or the verb, meaning there is no clause, meaning there is no independent clause. So F is wrong because there is no independent clause. All right, G is, I'm going to assume this is probably the correct answer. But H, and I'm assuming that because this is the only one where they are keeping the subject and the verb together. H does the same thing that F does in turning or ensemble drumming became a phenomenon. Either that is the parenthetical or kumi deako, or Japan, kumi deako is the parenthetical. Either way, kumi deako and the verb became are, one of those is going to be gone, meaning there is no clause, meaning there is no independent clause. So answer H is also gone because of no independent clause in the sentence. And then J is going to be the same thing. It separates out became a phenomenon, and therefore there is no independent clause in this sentence. And that only leaves us with answer G. So we're just going to reread answer G to make sure it's correct. And when we reread a clause question, we recommend that you do not read the parenthetical. So it says, in 1960s, Japan, kumi deiko became a phenomenon. Makes total sense. It's perfect. And that is our answer. Recommend that you go ahead and do all of the remaining clause 2 questions that you missed on this test, adding each one to your worksheet as you learn it, if it makes sense to you. And if this is your last clause 2 question that you missed on this test, to go ahead and do the clause 2 mastery, getting 10 questions correct in a row on the mastery before going to the next category that you master.